G'day. I've been waiting for this this moment for about 1.5 years now since I picked up this little Henry big boy carbine. It's the card case hardened. So it's got a loaded side gate loading. Man, I love this thing. I love the way it feels, the way it handles. It's just beautiful, right? But I haven't had a chance to really get to know it, right? So I usually name my favorite rifle after one of my ex-wives. So this is Sweet Marie, right? I was gonna give that name to my trade gun, but this is definitely Sweet Marie, right? So today I've got 4 different loads loaded up that I loaded up at the teepee. 43 grains of 2F, 43 grains of 3F, 43 grains of 777, the 3F version, and 43 grains of Trail Boss. That's a smokeless powder, and they're all shooting or pushing the 200 grain, very hard cast, flat point, round nose flat point bullet. So I went out on a limb, picked up a ballistic chronograph. I've never used one of those things. Like, I really couldn't afford it, but I need to find out how viable this is for actually shooting, things up to elk or whatever, And then when I get back to the lodge, I'll figure out the energy, but it's not going to be like the normal foot-pounds, and I'll go over that when I get to the lodge. Anyway, I'm going to clean it in between each of the 3. I'm going to fire 3, average it out, clean the bore, and run the next 3, and run the next 3, and the next 3. So we got to target out there about 25 yards, a little bit, maybe 30 yards. I'm not really sighting it in quite yet, but I want to find the best load, right? So that's what we're doing today. So there's some really good videos on this little fella, or just the Henry, the rifle itself too, and the carbine. It's a work of art, in my opinion. It's not the finest rifle I've ever had, but dang close. The fit and finish is awesome. The action is just smooth as silk, right? You got your choice of course, you got your choice of loading it through the tube or through here. The side gate, which I have to say, shooting an old Winchester, how they used to pinch yourself, right? They've engineered this like it's just smooth, right? There's no catching nothing, right? Where's the old Marlin too? I had a Marlin 30-30 too that feeding it through the side gate. Pinch your finger or pinch your thumb sometimes. Not the case with this fella, all right? So this is a 16.5-inch barrel, which means I have to, but when I go back to Alaska, it means I have to ship it through. I think that 18 inches is the minimum length you can haul through Canada. But oh well, it's all right. And the shorter barrel too, right? As my eyes are getting older, the shorter sight radius makes it a heck of a lot easier for my older eyes to pick those sights up and line them up. So yeah, this is a piece of beautiful, and I love the extra room in that lever, right, too, for gloves, especially if I up in Alaska, right? So we're gonna get onto it, get to shooting. So we're gonna start with 2F, go 3F, then the 777. how smooth that is. That's just so smooth. Okay. Ooh, I like that. 1094. I like that. That's about 100 yards. That beats just about dead on. 1140. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of variation in the velocities, because in a teepee and doing it in a primitive situation, reloading in a primitive situation is not nearly as precise as like in a shop or something like that. But I don't happen to have one, so. Oops. Had a little bit of a. There you go. I'm gonna have to get another. I'm gonna have to get another one. That one. Another spot there. 1135. Ain't too bad. So, we'll swap the bore out and put some through the 3F1s. I'm gonna repaint the target too. The grip is a little wide. Yep. Move on to 3F. 1256. Well, 25. A lot better. $12.49. Ain't too awful bad. Clean the bore. We'll go to the 777. There we're good to go. The 777s. Whoa, 1560. A little more oomph than that one. $15.37. $15.48. Yeah. Lastly, going to Trail Boss. So far, the 3F's grouped the best. As far as I know on this one. Well, we'll see how this one goes. 13, 14. 1330. I love this thing. This is the sweetest little thing I think I've ever touched. Sweet Marie. Boy, we're back at camp. I spent all last night doing figures and things like that. But there's a couple things I want to go over before I get into the 4 rounds that I had loaded up and we didn't test it right. So originally I wanted to use buffalo bore. This is a 45 Colt plus P buffalo bore, which is like, yeah, a poor man's 45, 70 or whatever. But this is a 300 grain bullet, and it interferes with the action in there, and so it's not really usable. So there's the length difference between the ones I loaded and then plus B. You can see there's a fair bit of difference, right? Yeah, so I knew Sweet Marie could handle the pressures that the plus P put out and creates, right? But I didn't know about the length, right? So if you wanna run a plus P round in your big boy, it needs to be 250 grains or less, right? So yeah, that made me kind of sad. It's like, you buggers, they're expensive, right? So if you know of anybody that has some 250 grain plus P buffalo bores that want to swap for 300 grain ones, yeah, give me a ring. So that's one thing that's a kind of a down to the little fella. But there's a couple of other things I want to go over too before I get into my loads, right? And one of them is like muzzle energy and the kinetic energy. It doesn't really tell the true tale of effectiveness on big game in particular, right? So Tim Sundells, the owner and founder of Buffalo Bore Ammunition, wrote a really good article. You can find on his website or the Facebook page, I think, whatever. And he did a YouTube video too that was really good, and it goes over how misleading that muzzle energy, kinetic energy can really be, right? So he stacks that up against a different formula called the Taylor knockout. It was a TKO, and I'm converted actually, because I'm a big bore, slow moving big bore fan. Anyway, so the formula for the normal ammunition makers that they put on all their ammunition boxes, right? That muzzle energy is the formula for that is velocity squared times bullet weight over, I gotta get some notes here, over 450,436. Like, I have no idea how they sort that out, but that's they're the scientists, right? Whereas the TKO formula is bullet diameter, so it takes into account the bullet diameter, which is huge, bullet diameter times bullet weight times velocity over 7,000, and 7,000 is 7,000 grains equals a pound, right? So there's something there anyway. What's it? So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples of how this actually pans out in the real world. Like Tim Simdell says, like, okay, you take a 22-250 against a 30-06 or something like that, right? Or even this cartridge right here, this 45 Colt plus P. So we're going to get into that right now. So 22-50, I think it's off the shelf type stuff, has a 50 grain bullet traveling at 3,850 feet per second. So the kinetic energy, the muzzle energy, is 1,645 foot-pounds. So, excuse me. But the TKO comes out to 6.14. Now we're going to compare that with a 30-06 off the shelf, I think off the shelf, with a 180 grain bullet traveling at 2,700 feet per second. And that figures out to be a kinetic energy of 2,913 foot-pounds. The TKO, though, is 21.39. So, huge difference, right? Huge difference. The kinetic energy model formula, right, squares the velocity, so there's a huge emphasis on that velocity, and Tim Sundell actually goes way good deep into the whole why this is like, doesn't tell the whole tale, right? So now let's take this this cartridge right here, for example, the 45 Colt plus P, 300 grains, traveling at 1,325 feet per second. Now the kinetic energy, the muzzle energy, is 1,170 foot-pounds, way less than the 22-250. The TKO is 25.5, right? That's a huge difference. So my when I picked these up, and I kind of started researching things, I wanted to try to kind of get close to the plus P velocity and energy and both TKO and kinetic energy. I knew I couldn't do that. It's like the powders I have just aren't powerful enough to reach it, but maybe I could get close. So the 4 rounds I did. Here's the numbers on those. So the 2F GoX averaged 1,123 feet per second with a spread of 46, kinetic energy of 560 foot-pounds, TKO of 14.5. So even that is better than the 22-50 up against something big game, right? Which like Tim actually talks about, right? What do you want? What would you rather have, right? A 22-250 versus a Grizzly or a 40. Well, his example is a 45-70, but anyway. So the 3F GoX averaged 1,243 feet per second with a spread of 31, so not too bad. The TKO of 16 and the muzzle energy, kinetic energy of 686 foot-pounds of energy, right? 686. So that would, and I didn't get to, what I wanted to do too was video the spreads, but I only got the spread on the group, sorry, the group on the 2F. It's like a storm was really coming in, and I had to pick and choose. I just had to get things done because we got a bunch of snow last night, and I needed to get off the mesa before I couldn't, right? So I had to pick and choose what I videoed. So now we go to the 777 3F version. It averaged 1,548 feet per second. It was like, I was moving right along, right? And so the spread was 23, which is way better, a hell of a lot better than I thought I would get, being loading in the teepee, which isn't the most precision-friendly place on Earth. But it was pretty dang close. What I didn't like was the group was quite a bit further apart, and yeah, maybe it could have been my eyes, but I don't think so. But the TKO on that is 19.9, and the muzzle energy 1,064 foot-pounds of energy, which is starting to approach the buffalo bore, right? And so that's good, but shot placement is everything, right? So if you, yeah. So I need something that'll shoot some one ragged hole. Is what I'm looking for. That's still got, you know, the power and energy and all that kind of stuff. You know, the last one, the Trail Boss. Trail Boss averaged 1,336.6 feet per second, with a spread of 50 feet per second, which is like the biggest spread, but it had the tightest group, right? So that was like, well, go figure. So the TKO on the Trail Boss was 17.19, and the kinetic energy on that round was 793.7 foot-pounds of energy. So the next thing, so I actually I'm really leaning towards the Trail Boss, which is a smokeless powder, but I'm not even sure you can even get it anymore, but I bought a whole bunch when I was back in the day, a long time ago. So I have like all my berry bullets and my primers and my casings and my powders. I go back, 10 years ago or so. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards the Trail Boss, and another reason why too is like after cleaning and swabbing the bore after the 2F and 3F rounds, it's like, oh man, they were just like filthy. It's like Goex is known to be filthy anyway, but yeah, it was just dirty. The 777 fouling residue wasn't too awful bad, but Trail Boss was way better, way better. Plus it had the better group, so, and it's carrying enough energy, I think, to do the job. Hey, Mimi. So anyway, the quest continues. Sweet Marie, we're gonna figure out what Sweet Marie likes to eat, and or what I like to feed her. And hey, Mimi. She's tired of being in the snow. Anyway, cheers.